What? I can't hear you. No. I don't know, Lenore. I'm sitting here. Nothing was bleeding out. Nothing bleeding on my foot. Sorry, but I didn't see anything. I still don't see anything.
Good morning.
How you doing?
All right, how are you, Harvey?
Hello, Bob.
Good morning, Bob.
Same davening
Oh, well.
and according to this one shot, it is the blowing of the shofar in Musaf that triggers Yoba. Okay, and that's what, okay. So we, and our Bryce, our Mishnah, and then also Bryce is according to the Pshat.
Steve, wrong room. In the library, it doesn't work.
Well, looks like that right now again.
And well, it's in the library, and that's where it doesn't work.
Hey,
Very short off anyway. Okay.
this is not encouraging right now.
The beginning of the month of what? Or does war? Well, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Somewhat.
That Yovel is triggered by the beginning of the month of Tishrei. But the Rabban say, okay, now there's another machlokes work. According to the Rabbana, the cycle works 49 plus a 50th, and then you start over. So 2 Yovels is 100 years. According to Reb Yehuda, you have 7 sevens, and then the next year is Yovel, and it is also number 1 of the next cycle. Now, the Rambam says we paskin like the Rabbanan. Taisvis says we paskin like Reb Yehuda. And in Mitzias, we have Yovelos because there's no Beis Din, but we do. And if the Rabbanan were right, he wouldn't be able to know when Shemitah years are. Right. Because you have to know when Yovel is in order to know 7 sevens, and then 7 sevens, and then 7 sevens. We can ignore Yovel and still know when Shemitah is. Have we got that straight? So we paskin like Reb Yehuda. So we're going to look at the Gemara. The Rabbanan hold Shnas Chamishim Atemoine. You count the 50th year number 50, and that's Yovel. The I Atemona Shnas Chamishim the Achas. You do none of the next cycle. La Afuke with the Rebbe Yehuda to argue with, to exclude the ruling of Rebbe Yehuda. The Amar, he says, Shnat Chamishim, the 50th year, Oila Lakan, Lakan. counts as 50 for the previous cycle and as number 1 for the next cycle. Okay? Kamash malan delo. So according to this limud, they use the brisa to exclude Rabbi Yehuda. Taisa says we paskin, as I mentioned, and we do indeed halacha l'maisa paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Now we know, because the way we live our lives, that you start Shabbos a little before Shabbos and you add on at the end of Shabbos a little bit, Tosfos Shabbos at both ends. Udemosifin, we also mentioned this phrase earlier, Udemosifin mechol al kodesh menolan. We have this concept, everybody knows it, but where do we learn it? So according to, we have 2 pshatim now. Tisanya, we have a brisa. And this is going to be Rabbi Akiva, and it's going to be very problematic, as I'll explain. But Chorish you should refrain from from plowing or from harvesting. So the truth of the matter is that phrase, keep Shabbos. The real pasuk says, keep Shabbos, don't plow and don't harvest. We know that already. It's when Lamed Tes Malachos. But Rabbi Akiva learns that pasuk. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Ein it tzorich lomar charish v'kutziv shel, you're not allowed to harvest, plow or harvest on Shemitah year. So why do we have a second pasuk saying don't harvest and don't plow? You plow and harvest. Tizra. We already learned you can't sow seeds. That's part of the growing process and the Shemitah year. So he says this is where we learn, adding on. Ela chorish shel erev shvi'is v'hichnos l'shvi'is. He's saying you cannot plow the month prior to the, even though it's not yet Shemitah year. And he also says, if somehow a crop were to have sown itself, maybe residue seeds in the ground. So now you have a crop and it's not ripe yet, and the Shemitah year is over. You're not allowed to harvest that crop in the normal manner. So now you have plowing before, harvesting after. That's how Rabbi Akiva learns that you have extra time before and after. But Rabbi Shmuel Aimer, he says that pasuk, what are you talking about? That's a Shabbos pasuk. So that's also superfluous. If it's a Shabbos pasuk, we already know Lamed Tes Malachos from other places. So what's going on? According to him, Macharish Rishus, there is no halachic requirement if you have a field that you have to plant crops on it. The plowing is entirely volative. You can do it if you want. You don't have to do it if you don't want. And afkatzibirishus, and even if you did plow and plant, there's no halacha in the world, maybe Baltosif, but that you do not have, that you are obligated to harvest your crop. So what does this pasuk come to teach us? Yatsa katzir ha'omer shehu mitzvah. This pasuk comes to say, if the if the time to bring the Korban Omer, the 16th of Nisan, they cut it the night before. So that's Pesach. That's like, or maybe it could be Pesach and Shabbos too. That you still harvest the Omer because that's not Rishus, that's mitzvah. And that's what those words are there for in that pasuk. So, Rabbi Yehuda learned adding on to Yom Tif or to Shabbos and to Shemitah before and after from that pasuk. But Rabbi Shmuel used that pasuk to say you can cut the Omer. So how does he know you add on? Okay, most should afflict your souls on the ninth. Now, whenever we see afflict the souls, we know it's the 5 Inuyim, the key main one being fast. Pasuk says fast on the ninth. So Talmud Lomer Bo'erev. The pasuk goes on to say in the evening. Okay, Be'erev Yachol Mishetech. Maybe it means by Shki. Ben Hashmashas could already be the 10th. So by saying for sure on the night, day before Yom Kippur, Melamed Musifin Mechol ala Kodesh, and that is the part to add from the whole, from the regular weekdays, and make to add on to the Kodesh. It's not 24 hours; it's almost 26. So ainly Ella Bichnisa. So according to this limud, now I know I have to start Yom Kippur a little early. I have to start maybe Shabbos a little early, but how do I know I have to end it a little bit late? Okay, Ainli Ella Bichnisa. So be how do I know we should end it late? Talmud Lomar may Erev ad Erev. The pasuk regarding Yom Kippur says from evening to evening, and we make a hekesh. That's only on Yom Kippur. Now, so that we said in the evening you add on at the beginning, and Me'erev you add a little at the next evening, meaning after Yom Kippur. So fine. So these two can tell us that you have to add on to every time the Torah uses the shoresh, shin, base, stuff. It refers to a Kodesh day. Tish B'Shu can be Shabbos, Tish B'Shu can be Yom Tov, Tish B'Shu can be Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, whatever it is.
This is not good looking.
That's it, we lost him again. I don't know, maybe Bob's computer. Hey, Steve, do you know where
Yeah.
they're up to? Where he's up to?
Yeah, he's up to, the Ravi Akiva.
Right.
Yeah, that's right where he was.
His top is very small.
Yeah, and you shall afflict your souls on the 9th of the month, the evening. And he requires it for that which was taught by he of Arav Pipi. He of Arav Pipi taught the following verse. The word says, and you shall afflict your souls on the 9th of the month. Is the fasting on the 9th? But isn't the fasting on Yom Kippur on the 10th of Tishrei? Rather, the verse comes to teach you, whoever eats and drinks on the 9th. Therefore, preparing himself for the fasting on the 9th, the verse describes some credit. Just before we turn the page.
That's it. Oh, well,
We lost him again totally.
yeah, we lost him totally again. I think it's Bob's computer. When is Ken coming back? That's a good question.
That's a good question. Only Ken may know, and probably not.
Yeah,
It all depends on his mother-in-law.
yeah.
They should have a quick recovery. Jerusalem,
All right.
they're coming back, it looks like, coming back.
Yeah. Here he comes.
And what constitutes your
He's at the top of the next page.
Yeah, I know, I see it. I'm reading it myself.
Talking about yoga.
and the sequence is
Maybe it's his voice. Yeah, he's frozen again.
first that it says you return land, and there are four psukim in a Jewish slave, and it says, "Oh, it says in the middle of all of this, it says it is Yovel. Afal pi shelo shamtu. So two psukim or two phrases earlier, it says abandon the land that you've been dwelling on for the last up to 49 years and return it to the ancestral Jewish slaves, then it's definitionally even though it's the 50th year.
He's gone.
Mhm.
Yep. He's gone again. I think it's gone.
Yeah, I'm still reading on. See, that way I'll know where he is if he comes back.
Yeah. Now he's totally off.
The Gemara asks, what's the need for Rabbi Yosef to add alternatively? Why is this first explanation sufficient? Because if you say that it's impossible that there should not be at least one slave owner at the end of the world, and therefore it's inconceivable that there ever be a time when there are no slaves that are set free, you can nevertheless say that this setting the chauffeur is given over to the court, but that setting the slaves free is not given over to the court. General Rabbi Yossi, granted, this is clear according to Rabbi Yossi, as he is stated in reasoning, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, what's the reason for the indispensable criterion for jubilee setting for freedom slaves? And you shall proclaim liberty to rule throughout all the land, all its inhabitants. And immediately afterwards it says, it shall be a jubilee year for you.
Mhm.
Rabbi Yehuda holds that a verse may be expounded in reference to the immediately preceding clause, but not in reference to the clause before that. So it shall be that you're referring to, and you shall proclaim liberty throughout the land, the emancipation of slaves. On Yom Kippur shall you sound the shofar throughout all the land. Not referring to it. Gemara and asks, according to everyone, the term Dora is a word meaning liberty. And where can you come up with that? The word Dura is a term meaning only liberty. In the Baraita, Rabbi Yehuda said, what's the meaning of the word Dura? It's like a man who dwells midayah in any dwelling, dayara, and moves merchandise around the entire country. He can live and do business wherever he wants. So that means liberty, it means freedom, that means movement. Rabbi Abba said in the name of Rabbi Yonah, this is the statement of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, but the rabbis say all three of them are indispensable for Jubilee, releasing property, sounding the shofar, and liberating the slaves. The whole other verse may be interpreted in reference to the immediately preceding clause in reference to the clause before that. And it may also be interpreted in reference to the clause following. But the Gemara asks, but isn't a written Jubilee year, which is a term of inclusion that should counter the exclusionary function of the words it shall be. That term Jubilee comes to teach that the mitzvah of the Jubilee year applies even outside of the Eretz Israel. But the Gemara challenges, but isn't it written throughout the land, implying that it applies only in Eretz Israel? The term throughout the land comes to teach that when liberation applies in Eretz Israel, it applies outside of Eretz Israel as well. As when liberation does not apply in Eretz Israel, it does not apply outside of Eretz Israel either.
And the Mishnah.
Yeah, and the Mishnah teaches that the first of Tishrei is the new year for planting. In terms of the year of Orla, $3 shall be prohibited, you it shall not be eaten. And it's written in the following verse, and in the 4th year also will be sacred for giving praise to the Lord. Begins from Tishrei, in the beginning of the year. But the Gemara asks,
Is
where
it
is the rock? Here in other instances, the word year is after the purpose be it begins from Nisan, as the written with regard to Nisan. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Without the meaning of the word year, months are not mentioned with it. And the word year, as it appears in the verse of Deuteronomy, their months are also not mentioned with it. And they do not derive the meaning of the word year. Their months are not mentioned with it in the word year. It shall be the first month of the year for you. Sages taught in Baraita, if one plants a tree or layers a vine tree in the ground so that it may take root, or grafts a branch onto a tree in the eve of the sabbatical year, 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, as soon as Rosh Hashanah arrived, the year is counted for him. So the 30 days counted the full year with regard to the prohibition of Ola, and is permitted to preserve the plant during the sabbatical year and not considered new growth. However, if one performed these actions less than 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, the year is not counted for him for Ola, and is prohibited to preserve new growth during the sabbatical year. That's the end of that page.
Yes, we're not going to go over. We'll leave it for you. Excellent job, Steve.
What can I tell you? Push through no matter what.
All right.
All the best.
Have a good day. Be good.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.